Hello, welcome to another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show Express. Today we're just going to have a really quick show. It's just going to be me and Tom over here. Tom Marshall, as some of you may know. Others may know him as Mexico World Cup. Tom, how you doing?
What's this say? Yeah, can't complain.
Yeah. Quick, okay, so give us a summary of your vacation in 5 words or less.
5 words.
Just 5 words, 5 words.
Very good. Yeah, no, good stuff. In Spain, yeah. Went to Spain and England and went to a good few games. So yeah, it was good times. Definitely.
Nice. All right. Well, speaking of games, we're just gonna have a quick show over here. So let's go straight to the Liga MX. So Tom, this weekend from the 9 matches that are happening this weekend, I guess Friday as well. Which game stands out to you? Which game is something that kind of grabs your attention?
Yeah, I think there's no immediately obvious game. Like for example, last weekend there was America against Tigres, like a repeat of the final, 2 of the best teams. So I don't think this weekend there is that game that really kind of just jumps out at you. But I'm going to go for Morelia against America, which might seem a bit of a strange choice, but Morelia finished last place last season, and they're now last in the league again against an America that Gustavo Matosas is still searching for that formula, that kind of that key really to get them firing, especially up front. And I just really think that this could be the game where America get it all together and put a few goals past Morelia. I mean, midweek we saw Morelia draw against the strongest, 1-1 in Morelia in the Libertadores. Centre-back partnership, Wiki and Picolin. I mean, if that goes up against America, I'm sorry, but I really fear for Morelia.
It kind of seems anything. It kind of seems like it's just been a matter of time before something just starts going right for America with the talent that they have up there in their attack. And I think Benedetto's been doing very well for them too. And it just seems like it's just going to be a matter of time before they understand what Matosas is trying to teach them, and they're just going to start scoring. Despite the fact, I don't think Morelia has allowed a goal to be scored on them this season. I mean, this season I think it's only 2 games, so it's not that strong of a statistic. But yeah, it just seems inevitable. Something's going to happen to America, and it might be this weekend against a very, very poor Morelia side.
Yeah, I think you could argue it's best against worst this game. And Morelia, if they are at any time going to kind of step up and do something, then there'll be a full stadium probably in Morelia, mainly full of America fans at the street. But it's the moment now to let's see if Morelia can do anything. I really doubt they can, because I think they're defensively too weak. And I think America, exactly like you said, I think they're going to click at some point. I think this is the game that they are. Let's see if it happens. What about you, Cesar? What game are you going for?
I'm going for. It sounds like a really strange game to really be excited for, but Chiapas and Xolos. And I think the main reason I'm really excited about that game is just because I want to see a ridiculous. I'm just hoping for a goal fest from Dairo Moreno and Aviles Hurtado. It's probably not going to happen, but those guys have both been on fire for their respective squads. They're both the top 2 leading goal scorers in the league right now. They both have 4 goals each. So I think it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. This weekend.
Yeah, definitely. I think Moreno's been just a massive plus for Tijuana. I mean, he's been there a while now, and he's just didn't quite happen for him. And all of a sudden this season, he just seemed to have been almost freed, and he's all of a sudden banging in goals all over the place. I think Tijuana they've gone back to that kind of almost Mohamed, Antonio Mohamed style, where they're just very solid and they've got something going forward on the counter as well. But I think getting rid of Pellerano and Benedetto on paper didn't, obviously it looks bad, but I think the other side of it is that I think in the dressing room, I think there was a bit of a clique there going on with the Argentine players, and I think that now that's been broken up, I imagine there's a lot better atmosphere.
Yeah, and I think something that a player that stood out to me in Tijuana is Javier Güemes. That guy's been playing like a quarterback for his squad. No,
his hands. He's not been using his hands, has he?
No, he's seriously, some of those long passes that he's had, and he had 2 assists in the last game. and he's just starting to take control of the middle. And I think the way that he's been able to take control of the middle, it's allowed certain players from Tijuana to have a little bit more space to run, and I guess like talk about Moreno, like I've seen like the 4 matches that I've seen him playing, it seems like he's given so much space to run and just take chances, and I think I don't know. I think a lot of that is credit to Javier Güemes in the midfield, and he's only 23 too, and I love watching him do well because he's a young Mexican midfielder. We can add him to our arsenal of midfielders that we have right now for the national team. So that's definitely exciting for us.
Yeah, no, definitely. I've always been a big fan of Güemes.
Yeah.
Player. All right. What about what is it? Veracruz against Querétaro.
See, Veracruz Querétaro. I don't know. Veracruz. They're still undefeated. I think they're probably a little worried after their last tie. But now things can't be going well for Querétaro at the moment. And with Veracruz having the home field advantage, I think it's gonna be an easy win for Veracruz this game. I think it's gonna be a 3-1 against Querétaro this weekend.
I don't know. I'm not convinced about Veracruz. I know they started really brightly, but
yeah.
I don't know. I think they still might struggle a little bit. We'll see. But I think the other thing, obviously, the Ronaldinho. It looks like he's going to start on Friday. He showed a few nice touches on Tuesday. Obviously the physical trainer over there at Querétaro said he doesn't like running much.
You don't have to run very much during playing soccer, so that's not a big deal.
But yeah, he's back, and I think now's the time for Ronaldinho if he is going to start doing this to.
He's not going to do it though. He's not going to. Let's not kid ourselves. All right, we should probably go to the next game. So I believe it's Santos versus Chivas, right?
Santos Chivas. I think both teams started really badly, didn't they? Opening day losses, and they both got better from there. Santos. What is it now? I think 5 games without defeat.
Well, I know they've won their last 2. They've scored 5 goals in their last 2 games. You got to think. You look at that and you got to think that Chepo is going to worry. In Chivas' last game, it felt like they let Pachuca have too much pressure, like too much possession in that game at home. And I know that's the way you got. I know he's got to play rigid. He's got to play a little bit boring, football in order to scrape out those wins. But I don't know how that's going to go this weekend.
No, I think he's going to do the same. I think Chepo's, and if anything, it's going to be even more defensive. I really do. I think it's going to. I think he's going to be really worried about Santos, and I think it's going to be a really boring game. This, I really do. Really awful.
We got the Tom Marshall stamp of approval. Boring game of the weekend. All right.
No, I think there's going to be a worse one, but we'll get to that. But yeah, Chivas obviously. Fierro suspended, massive issue there. Yeah. I thought it was absolutely stupid by the federation. I don't know what they're doing there.
Well, they're probably just responding to all those referee calls and probably saying that we have to do something here, and just decided they blindly just chose something let's just ban him for that.
Yeah, definitely. The only thing about this game before we go to the Saturday matches is that if Chivas can get a positive result, even if they get a draw, that'll mean the 6 points above Puebla. And Puebla on Saturday, we can just go into this game now, are away at Tigres, which is obviously, for me, one of the most difficult grounds to go to in the whole league.
Yeah. No, that's definitely a good point. Did you want to go to Puebla Tigres? I think we're skipping over Cruz Azul Monterrey, aren't we?
Yeah, it's going to be boring, that one, though. That was my even more boring one.
Just because of how excellent the Cruz Azul has been defensively recently, but that seems to be the only thing that's working right now. Cruz Azul, hey, but Baroka Santa Cruz might be returning this weekend, right? It seems like there's a chance he might be coming back.
Yeah, I think that'll be massive for him. It seems like Cruz Azul, every press conference that Tenor does is kind of, or the players as well, they have to say, no, we're not we're not only reliant on Rocky Santa Cruz in the attack. He's only played 2 games. Yeah. but I think they are.
They are. Alan Mao is awful. Man, that guy is awful.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Santa Cruz is a top player, and even though he's like 33, speaking to people in Malaga when I was there, and they said he was in the form of his life, and he was like the absolute fulcrum of the attack there. So yeah, but Cruz Azul, they've they've played 360 minutes so far this season in obviously the 4 games, and there's only been 2 goals in those 4 games. So I can only see a 0-0 in this one.
Yeah, no, I was shooting for a 1-1. I think this it's
gonna
be.
Just go wild. They go crazy.
All right, so I guess now we go over to Tigres and Puebla. Both teams are struggling at the moment. Tigres only have 1 win in the season. Puebla desperately need points so they don't go become relegated. What are your thoughts on the match? I guess you mentioned some of them earlier, saying that it's going to be a tough place to go to go over to Tigres, where they obviously have a huge amount of fans constantly in every home game.
Yeah, no, it's a difficult place to go, and I think Puebla will struggle. They've stayed in every game they've played in, so they've not been terrible, Puebla, this season. They've just failed to win games, and they've not won games because they've not showed much ambition, to be honest. They've sat back, they're solid. I mean,
it kind of feels like watching Cruz Azul. It's like I think their last 2 games were 2-0-0s. Yeah. And that just says so much about their current strategy at the moment when you have 2-0-0 games in a row.
Yeah, and then this is the thing about the relegation, says I know it's like, there's 5 points difference now between Puebla and Chivas. It's like at some point they're going to have to twist, At some point they're going to have to take a risk and go for 3 points. You'd have thought that this weekend at Tigres isn't the time. You'd have thought that another 0-0 would be perfect. But, it's a difficult one. Puebla, actually, it's worth pointing out, they had a really difficult start to the season, and I think the second half should be easy for him. So if they can keep confidence up and stay, with Chivas and with Leones Negros and with Veracruz, you never know in that second half of the season. It only takes a couple of wins here and there, a couple of weeks swing, and this relegation's, will still be very open. So, I can just see Tigres 1-0 though.
Yeah, no, I could see that as well. And it's like, I would assume it would be a little bit of a higher score, but the way that Tigres have been playing recently, it doesn't look like it's going to be much more than 1-0, especially with Duca Ferretti's tactics that he utilizes in every game.
Yeah, they need a player like that, Pulido or something, don't the Tigres?
Yeah. Who? Who's that guy? I thought he was over in Greece.
No, he's apparently contracted still to Tigres. Could do with someone sticking in, but Anyways, Pulido looks like he's going to have to come back to Tigres or not.
Yeah, it looks like it. Did you read? Have you read the report? I tried reading the report. I got about 4 pages into it, and I got a little bored, and I stopped. I should really finish it though.
Yeah, it's not what they're saying, but it basically says Pulido's got absolutely no grounds. Basically it says you signed a contract, you've got a contract. What are you doing here?
Yeah,
it does.
It does seem a little skeptical too. It's like, wait, so that you were registered in the team, but you didn't complain about it until a year later. Even though it was just kind of weird. But I guess we probably talk about that later. But let's go over to Pachuca and Toluca. I don't know, but Pachuca has some of that younger talent. We saw them doing well in the recent Mexico U20 tournament. But it's just I don't know, they didn't seem to click last week, and I think it's going to be a little tough against the Toluca side. I just feel like they've just become rejuvenated recently. And Edgar Benitez, I think he's scored 3 goals and has had 1 assist in the last 2 games for Toluca. So he's on fire right now for Toluca. And I think it'll be a close game, but I could feel like I can see Paco Benitez having another good game for Toluca, and helping them secure at least a 2-1 victory.
Yeah. I think it's I don't know. I think it's going to be another close one, isn't it? I think Toluca are going to be up there again. I don't know. The thing about Toluca these days, I can only see him getting to the semi-finals. You know what I mean? I don't know why. It's just it might be just a mental block. I can't see them doing that, going that extra step and winning. But as for this weekend, I think that Diego Alonso, the coach at Pachuca, is new to the Mexican game. He's struggled in the first few games. I think it's just 1 win in the 4. So it's an important game for him. I mean, there is pressure already. Pachuca, loads of money. They got to the final. What was it? About 9 months ago. During the final against Leon. So it's a very good team, Pachuca. You've got Lozano, who for me is unbelievable. Just the best young Mexican in the league at the minute. I mean, against Chivas, every time he got the ball last weekend, he just did something, or he's scared, or he just waltzed past the Chivas defense. It's unbelievable. But yeah, big game this for Pachuca, really is. There will be a lot of pressure if they don't pick up the 3 points on Saturday.
Yeah, and especially since we know how tenuous some of these spots are for the managers. Even if you just arrived in Liga MX, like you could be out within a matter of 4 to 5 games if you don't make the owners pretty happy. So wouldn't be too surprising if there was some danger right there for his job pretty early in this season. We should have eventually we should have the Mexican soccer show. We should have like a manager firing like betting or something like that, like a countdown for certain coaches. We try to bet to see which manager will be fired first.
Yeah, if you'd have just bet on Chivas' manager all the time over the last 10 years, he'd be loaded. He'd be retired.
All right, so let's see. So we already covered Chiapas and Xolos, so now we go over to Pumas and León. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it's. I'm not entirely sure. Do you know if Luis Montes is back? Because it seems like I thought he would have been match fit by the last game, but then he wasn't brought back because he's been playing with the under-20 side for León. But I would assume he'd at least be back by this weekend.
Yeah, he said that it's possible. Is in line 4 minutes if if the manager PC wants to. I mean, I don't know. I think that they desperately need him back. León desperately needs something. I don't know. Same with Pumas. Neither of the teams really exciting me at the minute. These two. I don't know. You never quite know what to expect with them, and the likes of Gullit Peña and I don't know. It's like they peaked, and now it's like, what's next? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And when I watch them play, it seems like the simple, most obvious answer, but I think it is just Montes in the middle. I think he's just the missing piece right there for the squad. And I think it'll be fascinating to see what happens to the team once he comes back. It seems like he's in full health now. He's been playing with the younger teams. He scored it was 5 minutes into his first game of the season with the under-20 squad. So I mean, and for their sake and for our sake as well, I would love to bring him into the national team as well, and hope he'd be ready by the Gold Cup. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, no, it'd be great, wouldn't it? And great for him because I mean, everybody talks about him in the game as just being a top guy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Top person, so yeah. So what's the last one?
Last game. So we got Leones Negros and Atlas.
And Atlas, yeah.
Are you gonna be going to that one?
Yeah, I'll be going to that one. Yeah, I think I'm going to not go with the press and get some tickets to go with a couple of friends.
Nice. You'll be having a good time then.
Yeah, be good. I like Leones Negros. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've liked what they've done so far this season. I thought that last week against Toluca they were the better team until Toluca opened the scoring.
Yeah.
I think that Speedy Gonzalez, brilliant. No, he's a good player. He's only 19, but he's a great little winger. Martinez, they've got a few really good players, and they keep it solid at the back, and I just don't think they're going to be in danger of going down. And I can see him. I think I can see him just sneaking a win against Atlas, who, for me, haven't quite got going. And then the Copa Libertadores coming up, they might have one eye on that. I think Atlas is a team that is going to take it seriously. So I think I'd just go for Leones Negros 2-1, something like that.
No, I can see that. I can see Leones Negros surprising us too, because we were talking about how some of those squads from that we've talked about earlier today. We were saying that a lot of them play very boring, very very sit backish kind of football. But Leones Negros have been fun to watch. I like watching them play. They definitely have a lot of energy at the front.
I think it's flair as well. They've got some real flair players.
Yeah.
I mean that like I said, that Jonathan Gonzalez, who Speedy Gonzalez they call him, and he is legitimately fast, as you'd imagine he would be, unless it was a sarcastic nickname. But he's only 19. He's a good player. And then but he'll do stuff like scoop the ball over a defender, and stuff like that just for no reason. And then obviously Fidel Martinez, who is carrying the team, or especially last season did carry the team, and now he's got a couple of his Ecuadorian mates there to help him out up front. So I like Leones Negros this season.
Yeah, the Ecuadorian speed squad that they got up there in the front. Seriously, they're so fast. I don't know, maybe maybe like some of the other teams, it's just a matter of time before they start working together pretty well, and then they'll start scoring some goals. And they also, I mean, you forget about like a player like Mark Rosas in the middle. He's still done an excellent job with the team as well.
Yeah, he's done well. And then you've got even someone like Reynoso, who written off. I mean, we talked earlier in the show about Morelia and Wiki and Bicolin. I'm not saying either of them are terrible players, but you can't have both of them. And it's the same with Reynoso. He's the same type of player. Can get pulled out of position, not very fast, a little bit clumsy, but a real physical presence. And he's not going to let anybody go past him easily. Now you can get away with having a Reynoso if you've got a centre back. A good centre back pair in there. So he's been brilliant for Leones Negros. He really has.
And he definitely brings a lot of leadership as well too. And he has a huge amount of years on him as well. So he brings a little bit of veteran experience to the squad. But going back to Atlas, it seems like Atlas are just underwhelming. They finished third last season. They were tied for first. They brought in Walter Kahneman, who's I thought would I think it was his first performance for the team. I think he scored a goal, but I thought he would be excelling in that defense. He's so far done all right, but I don't know. I had a little bit of higher expectations for Atlas this season. I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe it's for some of the reasons that you said earlier.
I think Atlas are going to be up there again. I think the defense is better now with Kahneman. I think he's going to be a top signing given time. He could be one of the best of the off-season. He really did have a massive reputation in Argentina, and I think a lot of people thought he might go to Europe. But I think the Atlas, the problem is up front, and they're just crying out last season for a real striker. I'm talking a top Liga MX striker, and they still haven't got that. They got Keno, and he came from the second division, I believe, in Brazil.
Yeah.
And it's just for me that's not going to cut it. I mean, last season in the second division, Keno scored 3 goals in 25 games. It's like that's not going to cut it. But the other thing about Keno is that Keno, it means So I was listening to the radio the other day, and it was like Keno. And I was like, during the game, and I was like, what is going on here? But it's definitely a comedy sketch in there somewhere for Spanish speakers,
especially down there in Guadalajara. All right, so I guess we should, go over to probably the game that stands out the most in Europe. Fortunately, some of our players involved in the game may not stand out that much. Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid. I don't know. Let's be honest, Tom. Do you think there's going to be any minutes for Chicharito, or do you think there's going to be any minutes for Raul Jimenez? I think Raul Jimenez might get, if he's lucky, like usual, maybe 10 minutes. But I can't see Chicharito getting. I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised if he doesn't even. Well, I guess with some of the injuries, he might be on the roster, but I don't think he's going to get any playing time.
No, he's going to struggle. I think he's, in a big game like this. I mean, I think that once the Champions League starts up again, he might see some playing time in the lesser games in La Liga. But I mean, against Atletico Madrid, one of the biggest rivals, and still in the championship race, just about. I think he's going to go full out. Benzema's playing absolutely unbelievably well, having his best season of his life. It's just a difficult one for Chicharito at the minute. And the only way I can see him coming on is if it's late in the game and they desperately need a goal. But even that hasn't been a guarantee.
Yeah, even
That's
then,
how far it's been.
Yeah, we've talked about this too. Just like even when they've needed a goal in so many situations, even when it's 2-2, even when they're down 1 goal, they still don't bring them on. And then you think like, well, what's the point? And then you hear Ancelotti saying like, oh yeah, we still need Chicharito, but I don't. Do they really? I thought he would have been getting more time with Real Madrid than with Manchester United, but it's looking like, I don't know, maybe. All right, so here's a question: do you think he's still better off going to Real Madrid than with Manchester United at this point this season? Do you think the move was still a smart decision?
Well, no. I mean, if it was between the two, then it's difficult because he wouldn't have got minutes at Manchester United either.
Yeah, but I would assume he would have still got somehow more playing time at Manchester United than he would have right now. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It's a difficult one. I mean, at least they're playing two strikers at United. I mean, at
Yeah,
least they're playing two central strikers, so that would have definitely helped him. But at the same time, Van Gaal seems to like James Wilson, the young striker. So
sure.
there's no guarantee that that Chicharito would have even been ahead of him. But I think just this game, Real against Atletico, it should be. You got two Mexicans coming up against each other in the in
On
the,
the bench.
the,
On
the
the bench.
big La Liga game, and it's like I know I've already got the tweet saved. Chicharito is starting on the bench for Real Madrid. Raul Jimenez is on the bench for Atletico.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I think before the game, just tweet that out, and I don't know. It's a bit sad. You need to, like the whole debate going on in the US right now about players coming back to MLS, the fitness,
Yeah.
not enough Klinsmann wanting more players in Europe in Champions League teams. You've got two Mexicans in real top quality Champions League teams,
Yeah.
and both of them on the bench, and it's like it just adds another little dimension to that argument that at what point is it good to be in a top club if you're not playing? I mean, I'd argue that with Chicharito now, at the end of the season, he's got to get out there and get some minutes wherever, really.
Especially he's at the prime of his career too. He's at he's moving into his late 20s. He needs to be getting regular playing time, and it's going to be with the wealth of talent that we have up top on the national team. If he wants to make a case for himself to become a starter once again, he's going to have to. I mean, there's maybe only like 10 teams in Europe where Chicharito, the top 10 teams, Chicharito will be a backup. There's so many options for him out there. So many. Yeah,
what about Levadiakos? They might be needing the striker. Sure, he'd play there.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah. Why not?
All
right. So it looks like I don't know. I think that was a standout game. Unfortunately, Vela's out for Real Sociedad. We're not going to see Ochoa get. It's going to be highly unlikely to be playing with Malaga. Villarreal's will be playing against Granada this weekend. Espanyol's will be playing against Valencia. And it looks like Moreno's back in full health. Looks like that injury wasn't as bad as we all thought it would be. Any other match you wanted to bring up? Want to just wrap it up?
Yeah, I think that's about it. Shame, obviously, about Vela and Moreno, but he's been in great form. He really has. He's been playing really well. I've watched the last few games, and he's definitely. Hopefully, he'll be one who does make a big move this summer.
Yeah.
It was kind of a disappointing transfer window, really, for the Mexicans. I mean, Reyes stayed at Porto with no guaranteed playing time. Ochoa stayed at Malaga. He might not even play a club game before the Gold Cup. I mean, but anyways, we'll save that for Monday and when the rest of the crew are here.
All right. Well, thanks, Tom. Thanks, everybody who was listening and took part in the conversation. I think we got one comment from Ivan Fernandez that said Puebla for relegation. But we'll be back next Monday. Enjoy all the games this weekend, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you soon, Tom. All right, see you later.